Okay, one of my favorite pastimes is playing chess. I am an incredibly competitive chess.com player. I have broken a laptop playing chess.com because I've become so frustrated. And so I wanted to get the founder of chess.com, Erik Allebest, on this show to talk about his journey to $150 million in AR. Now, he did that over the course of 18 years. They haven't taken any funding, and he has made some incredible marketing decisions that have helped him get in there. His brand, search, influencer marketing, and many more things. We talk about all of that on this show. You're gonna love it. You're gonna wanna play chess afterwards. That's Erik Allebest, chess.com on Marketing Against the Grain. How did your passion for chess originate? Where did it originate from?
I've always been a gamer. It's just like part of me. My mom taught me chess when I was 8. We played a lot of games around the house, and as I got older, I just really gravitated toward games. And, chess is kind of the granddaddy of them all, but I really didn't play a lot until kind of later in high school. And then I really only played with my grandpa. I played a lot of other board games and video games, and chess just kind of emerged late and really grabbed me. I mean, it was the game where suddenly I realized there were hundreds of books written about a game. Well, that must be something interesting and complex. And then I started buying one book and then another, and then it was really just a rabbit hole to fall into. And I've never, hit the bottom. So still falling today.
But at chess, when someone beats you, it's because they're smarter. I always find it's like they're smarter than you. That just irritates me beyond anything else. It's like that person it's just literally smart, right? They're just smarter at me. But it's also a great foundational game for poker. Do you play poker at all?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. I will say though, let me say, I think when someone wins at chess, what they have demonstrated is that they have a better understanding of these types of positions than they've seen.
Yeah.
Chess is really a pattern recognition
Pattern
game.
matching. Yeah.
And so it's not are they raw smarter? It's just, have they experienced this more? It's the accumulation of all the things you've seen and experienced, which is really just analogous to so much of life. I mean, even business, even marketing, when you see these problems over and over again, you see the solutions and you see the things. And so I think I understand that people are like, well, I'm just, that person's smart. I get it. But it's really,
this is the way me. Yeah.
It's really just the accumulation of experiences. Yeah. And I have to say, I don't play tennis. I'm going to say something horrible. You're going to hate it, but I play pickleball, which is a childish version of tennis. I get it. But every point feels like a chess game. Because you're moving pieces and you're seeing patterns and you're recognizing and you're setting up, and it's not the one shot that wins. Usually it's, a setup that makes it hard and does the thing. And so that's really, I like to bring that skill set of strategy and tactics and openings and end games, which is all present in chess, to my pickleball game, or in your case, your tennis game. It's very similar, and there's a lot there.
So let's finish the story first. I was playing so much chess that I was in a hotel. I think I was coming back from speaking at a conference, and I nearly missed my flight because I was playing this person on my phone, and I could see how I could checkmate them, and they were trolling me in the back and forth. Not many people do that, but I like it. Sometimes you have a bit of trolling each other, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this person, and nearly missed my flight. The other thing I figured out from playing a lot of chess.com, and I don't think you're gonna like this, so apologies in advance, but I'm a systems thinker. I try to think about how I can shortcut systems. And I realized, if you have above 1,000, it means you have a winning record in chess. If you have a below 1,000, it means you have a losing record in chess. And it's actually really hard to have a winning record in chess because chess.com is so awesome. It continually matches you with people who are, slightly better you or slightly worse than you. But what I realized is if my score gets too far below 1,000, it's going to take me for a long time to catch back up to get back to 1,000. Start from the start again. And I'm getting better all the time, right? I'm improving. So I should just start new accounts. So I'm a year's into chess, I'm a much better player. So I start a new account. I can start at 1,000 again and work my way up. Now that's a terrible thing to do. It's not in the spirit of being a good chess player, but that's how much I want to win.
That's how much you want to win. And people really do value their rating. It's almost
huge.
like a self-worth wrapped up in the rating a little bit. I get it. I understand. And it is really interesting psychology around that. So,
yeah. I remember listening to the All In podcast, and they were all sharing their chess.com scores. All right, we should talk about some marketing. I honestly could talk about chess forever. Again, I'm a huge fan of yours, huge fan of the company.
Thank you.
So I want to start with, one of the interesting, I don't know if this is a good comparison, so hopefully don't take offense to it, but one of the ways when I was trying to tee this conversation was, when Genius.com came out, right, there was a bunch of other sites that did lyrics, and Genius.com figured out how to do that better and different than anyone else, even though at the end of the day, it's lyrics, right? And chess.com, I think of it a little similarly, right? There's probably lots of, when you started, and maybe there wasn't, lots of sites, like chess is a game, right? Lots of sites that help you play chess, want you to play chess. But for some reason, you by far are the biggest and best one out there. And I wanted to figure out, like, what are one or two things that you did that you think was the reason that chess.com became the premier place to go play chess versus any other company or site that was out there?
There's really, I think, three things that contribute to that. Number one, especially if you're at a bit of a commoditized product area, like, lyrics, as you mentioned with Genius, chess, anyone can really code up a chess, playing place. Now, it can get really complex, but anyone can do it. So why did chess.com win? I mean, there were dozens of other chess sites at the time, and there still are many places you can play chess and many apps you can download. But chess.com is by far the biggest one now. I think we've got close to 80%, market share of people playing games every day. I think there's three reasons. Number one is brand. I mean, brand matters a lot, and you have to have a good one. And chess.com is, first of all, it's the word chess. And, of course, this is a bit in the kind of earlier web days, but the .com. And then also it's just kind of easy to say. It's chess.com. These days, people say chess.com, but they're playing on an app. It doesn't even have a .com. It's an easy thing to say. So
how did you get that domain name, Erik? Was there any competition, or you just grabbed it? There was no competition?
There's really only one other competition because it was a bankruptcy auction and there was only one other person there.
Wow. So that is awesome.
Yeah. So the first thing was brand. The second thing was a customer acquisition strategy that was sustainable. And for us, that was SEO. That was search engine optimization. And people would come every day. They would search for chess. Our content would be there. And they would find it and they would arrive. And that was our strategy from the beginning. And it's evolved over time, but SEO remains a massive part of our strategy. So we had a clear customer acquisition strategy from the start. And then third is the product. You have to have a great product. It has to feel good. It has to look good. It has to come together. It has to be seamless, reduce the friction, and do all those things. So really with those three things, that's how we got chess.com in a sea of many places to play. That's how we rose and just continued to rise.
Yeah. So the brand, the search, and then obviously the product. You were the founder, so you were kind of the pseudo CMO. I think you're maybe 600 plus people now. Is that around the right number of employees?
Yeah. And we still don't have a CMO. We just hired a VP of marketing. She started, like a month ago. And so, I've been the CMO. Danny, my partner, has been the CMO because he's our CCO, our Chief Chess Content Officer, Chief Chess Officer. So that's, we've kind of had that duties, and we've really created an interesting organization where marketing just runs through everything that we do, even if we don't have like one top-down person. So it's kind of unusual how we've done it.
Hey everyone, from one marketer to another, I want to help you out. It's tough keeping up with the content demands each year, especially across a variety of content channels. Balancing the workload while still maintaining quality can be a real challenge for everyone. We've got a free guide from HubSpot on how to use AI to make that all easier. It walks you through how to integrate AI tools into your content workflows so that you can come up with more ideas and spend less time implementing them. This is going to save you a ton of time and a ton of money. I don't know what else I have to say. I've dropped the link in the description below. You're going to want to go check it out. Now back to today's show.
Yeah, and even when you have the thing Kip and I always talk about is even when there is a CMO, the founder really is the CMO because they would want to have strong points of view of marketing. It's their product. They know the audience so well. They're going to have tons of like ideas and points of view of what they want marketing to do. What you mentioned search, so like what were some of the playbooks that worked, and even maybe today, like at least the things that still work today for chess.com?
The things that we do now that are successful for marketing are, again, we continue on the brand side, and our brand voice has evolved so much, and that's been a huge part of our success. Starting, like you said, with COVID, where you got deeply into chess, we really we saw that a whole new generation of people were playing chess and they were having a different relationship with it. And as you said, it's frustrating at times. And so we really wanted to do two things. Number one is lower, and it changed the definition to be more inclusive of what it means to be a chess player. It didn't just mean be, one like an old white guy who's really good at chess. Well, that's what a chess player is, right? It was all genders, it was all races, it was all nationalities, and it was all skill levels. Even right. People who are under 1,000, you are a chess player. That's okay. That's great. And then the other thing we did is we leaned in to losing, because losing is almost 50% of your games. And so that's okay. So we kind of leaned into the humor and depressurized it. We celebrated our mistakes and our frustrations, and that's just a part of the journey rather than focusing on winning only. And so these were things we did to kind of change the relationship of people with chess itself and our brand by extension, and had a very kind of humorous and accepting tone to our social media and how we presented our brand. So that was a big part of how we've evolved over time.
One of the things that I love that you've done, you didn't mention it there, is you do these incredible influencer things where you have a ton of influencers playing chess. I think I sent it around to a bunch of people, these kind of tournaments, and they're all different levels and they're playing against each other. And I think they stream it. I think Mr. Beast has done it. A whole ton of people have done it. Can you maybe talk about that as a marketing employee and how that came together and how it's worked out for you?
Yeah, one of the phases of our kind of marketing journey was, we did the SEO and the content and then, on the brand and the product, but then we saw that there were new platforms emerging where people were spending their time, and it wasn't just, YouTube. There was like this Justin TV thing, which is like the precursor to Twitch, and then Twitch launched, and then we saw that people were playing games, and then we started to kind of stream our own little games on Twitch, and then we saw that other people were, and then it started to grow, and people were playing more chess on Twitch, live streaming. And then even Twitch, we got a connection there, and they're like, oh, this is a really interesting thing. Like, people are sticking here and watching. And we're like, great, this is going to be good. And Danny, our chief chess officer, he saw this early, and he's like, this is going to be big, guys. This is going to be big. And we're like, I don't know. But he's like, no, this is going to be big. And so we started to go that direction a lot. And we started to, bring people who were reluctant. They were chess players, but they're like, oh, what is this streaming thing? And we're like, no, you trust me. You want to do this. People like, Hikaru Nakamura and Levi Rosman and the Botez sisters, we said, oh, you got it. You're really going to want to lean in here. And they did. And we worked together, and that just exploded. And we were at the early start, so it wasn't like we caught at the tail. We were at the very beginning. And now we have a streamer program, and we have helped and promoted people, and they have gone on to become major, self-sustaining streamers in this ecosystem. So it's good for them, and they're all streaming on chess.com, so it's good for chess.com and for the game of chess overall. And so we've really, in the last, since kind of 2017, have really just leaned in here and seen this channel really explode across Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, it really works because, to your point, one of the barriers to entry for chess back in the day would have been, hey, this is just too complex. It requires you to be a scientist, and I just feel I can't participate. But when you watch these streams, people are just having fun with their friends. They're not great players. They're making mistakes, having a ton of fun, riffing with each other in those mistakes. But it makes it, as you said, this is just a fun thing to do. I can just hang out with my friends. I can do it. What does maybe the team look like? Have you built a team around that, that streaming, that influencer? How have you set that up to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, we have a program internally, that runs the streamer program, and that handles both, the top end of our streamers, the major ones, and everybody, on down from there, all the way to, we've built tools on our site where if you connect your chess.com to your Twitch account or your YouTube account, and then when you're streaming, it lists you in the streamer thing, and so we've kind of built tools from our side to connect to the platforms, and then we've promoted. And we have our own chess.com, /TV, which is our own kind of TV internal channel that we basically rotate embeds, so we have a schedule where people can just go there and watch and be like, oh, well, I didn't know that, this woman was streaming chess. I'll watch her show. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, there's a new show on. Oh, and so people can kind of get discovered on our channel as they're out there on the other platforms. But then they're out there streaming on the platform, and that helps people discover chess.com. So, it's the classic 1 + 1, equals hopefully 3 situation where we're building each other.
And one of the things I know our listeners are going to be asking right now, the influencer space is growing from B2C to B2B. I know you're kind of B2C, but even in B2B, there's a big opportunity for creators and influencers, and brands are starting to do more campaigns. I think where a lot of companies struggle is like how successful you are in working with creators and influencers is mostly dictated by making sure the incentives are correctly set up, and the incentives are set up in a way where the influencer gets some upside in some way, and then the brand gets some upside in some way. How have you set up the incentives with streamers? Like, is there incentives for them to stream chess, or how have you set that relationship up with them?
Yeah, this is why it was so important that we were at the beginning of this and not late to the game. And I'm sorry to say, but if you're a brand now trying to build on streaming, you have a much different ecosystem where they all have rates and they have expectations and they have these different things. When we first started, it was small and there weren't those expectations. It was kind of us nudging and prompting people. And then during COVID, it was so natural. We weren't paying Mr. Beast to play chess. He was just playing it and having fun, and we benefited. And we would plant seeds and we would coordinate. And oh, would you like to meet with Hikaru? Oh, would you like to get this lesson with this grandmaster? And oh yeah, of course we do. And oh, do you want to play in our tournament? It's going to be really fun. And XQC's like, yeah, I'll play in your tournament. We didn't pay him to do that, but that's because it was early and it was organic. And then that led to this ecosystem where people were like, oh, well, chess is a thing. And so we didn't have to enter the space and have, some kind of influencer or creator say, oh, well, pay me $100,000 to play in your tournament. It never would have worked. We never would have done it. So, sometimes it's important to be early and see where marketing is happening and get in there early rather than always being late to it. Now, I'm not saying you can't do influencer marketing today. You can, but it requires real creativity, real win-win, as you said, where, but a lot of them won't do it now for, an affiliate link or, something like that. They want to get paid, which is understandable. That's their job. So today you can still do it. And chess.com, we have an affiliate program where people join, and when that drives someone to chess.com, then they earn revenue over time. We have hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people who are earning a little bit of income all the way up to a lot of income by driving new chess people, and then that hits us, and then they subscribe to chess.com, and then that gets shared back out through the creators. So we do that, but these days to go to somebody, let me say this. The other real benefit is that chess.com, we are a brand, but chess is not a brand. And so when we did a deal with Carlos Alcaraz with Nike, we didn't have to pay because Carlos loves chess. So it was inherent. When we did a deal with Luka Doncic, we didn't have to pay for that because he loved chess. And we never said to them, hey, we need you to promote chess.com. We never said that. Just promote that you love the game of chess, and then your love of chess and mentioning that, someone will search for it, and when you search for chess, you will find chess.com. So we have this really interesting flywheel of how this works, which is kind of unique to our company and our brand and our game.
Yeah, no, this is a really great point, because you mentioned you have 80% market share. Really, if the game of chess grows, your company grows, right? Like you actually don't really need to promote the brand that much because you are for the most part the brand of chess online. Like I don't really think of chess, I just think of chess.com. And I think for the most part, whenever I've talked to people who play chess, the thing they'll tell me is, here's my number is whatever on chess.com, you're kind of great in. So I think that's a really good interesting point in that you were like you actually are the kind of category leader by way of like almost like a Google, right? 80% market share is not too dissimilar from Google and search engines. Is that from the outset? Like when you launched chess.com, you went to the domain auction, you got the brand, that works really well. Were you ever not the category leader and you had to overcome some competitors, or has that kind of been from the outset that you were the dominant brand?
We had a lot of competitors when we started. I mean, including, a lot of mainstream sites like Yahoo and Pogo and other places. And then the serious chess players, they played on, Chess Club or, ICC, the Internet Chess Club. And so we were kind of caught in the middle where like the casual players were playing on Yahoo and the serious players were playing on, ICC. And so it's like, well, why would you enter that market? If professionals and casual players are already taken care of, you're crazy to go in there. But what we realized was that the product for the casual players that they saw at the time was garbage. Like, I'm sorry, but it was a really bad experience. And so we won on the product side with the casual users by having great play in the browser, no downloads there, no Java applets. We were monitoring for cheating. We were, doing things, and they just had, Yahoo Chess was just like, cheating and like, rage quits. It was just a bad experience. So we quickly won that. But then at the high end, the professionals, we had to kind of figure out how to take that market. And again, it was on the product. So instead of having to download this thing, you could just play right in the browser. Instead of paying money, it was free to play. And so we kind of start to get some, but then we did a deal with Hikaru Nakamura, who was one of the best online players, and had him become an ambassador and then we started putting on these events where we would put a little bit of money out there and, for the best player to win. And slowly but surely, the professionals started to take chess.com more seriously. And then they also knew that that's where a lot of their potential students were playing, who were the kind of in the more casual audience. And so, we gobbled up this part of the market, and then we gobbled up that part of the market. And over time, ICC basically went to zero. And we're nearly zero, and we became the leader. So we had strategies. We played the chess game, right? We saw the opportunity. We knew what our pieces were. We just played the long game of how we were going to win those markets.
Nice. So you kind of add up the casual user space by just building a better product. Sounds like they were not really that catered for. And then the better players, they were the ones you kind of did a little bit more specific marketing around. Like you saw, if we could get some people from there and be ambassadors, if we could put on tournaments that they could go play, if we can show them there's this huge user base that they can go and actually maybe teach and have some of those become students, that's a reason for them to kind of gravitate towards your site. Coming back to the three things, the brand, the search, better product. The other big part I do think about chess.com is really the influencer play, right? Like again, there's just a huge collection of people who are streaming themselves, show themselves playing. Everyone else is kind of pulled in through that. Not too dissimilar. Again, I know I keep bringing up poker because the two games, the kind of games I love is chess and poker. Yep. And there's such similarities. Like poker, a lot of poker places are following chess.com's lead. I don't know if you see like this one called Hustler Casino, and they put on these kind of influencer poker nights, very similar to like the influencer play you ran. But is there anything in any kind of marketing tactic as you started to grow chess.com, maybe had some additional resources and budget, wanted to try different marketing tactics that you tried but just failed for your brand, and kind of reasons you think it didn't work?
Part of our chess.com strategy was actually to avoid the customer acquisition cost trap. And in fact, chess.com as an idea, as a platform, was born out of my frustration with paid advertising. And there is definitely a role for paid advertising. I'm not saying no one should ever do it, etc. But for us, I had a different e-commerce business before chess.com, and all my margins were getting eaten up by, paid search. And I was super frustrated by that. I had a commodity product of chess sets that I was trying to sell, and I was, selling the same products, competing on price, and then competing against these same people for, paid ads and clicks, and my margins were disappearing, they were gone. And so I was super frustrated by that. And so I said, I'm not going to get caught in the customer acquisition cost game again, where, I'm just trying to outbid people. And so, I said, okay, we're going to try to win on SEO. We're going to try to win with, product. We're going to create a great brand. And then the other thing we're going to do is create a lot of content. All that money that we were putting, could have put into paid ads. Instead, we put it into content. And that was super successful for us, both written and social and media and all that stuff. But the other area that we tried and we have not been successful at is the larger scale kind of sports media, esports. And, esports, as has had a real up and down ride. And, you back up 3 years and, LeBron James was buying esports teams and it was the big thing. And kind of esports plus crypto together created a pretty big bubble, a few years ago about the potential of esports and the valuations and kind of professional media, sports, gaming, crypto all together created this thing. And we were in there. We were trying to do deals with different esports teams. And, we were investing in standing up a professional chess league and, trying to do that. What we found is that, that wasn't successful for us. And what we found was that more successful was the kind of, more natural, things where it was, more of the casual gameplay and the other thing. And it was a way smaller investment. I mean, when you were spending a small amount of money to get a lot of eyeballs for kind of just fun, casual events, but then you were spending a lot of money to get a little bit of eyeballs for the pro chess league, well, you got to follow the results. And so, we closed down the pro chess league. And that was a very hard decision for us because, as fans, we were fans of it internally, but it just didn't resonate. And I think that, seeing kind of the crypto ecosystem in many ways suffer, FTX isn't splashing millions of dollars around on chess anymore. And, we just haven't seen esports fulfill the promise and hopes that they had.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another good example of what I think has made you guys successful, which is it wasn't that you came in and dominated an existing market. You came in and created a market, right? And that's an example where we can just continue to make chess a larger thing online over here, or we can actually go specifically market to the people who love chess over here. And I feel like what chess.com has continued to do is just build a bigger market for chess. And again, coming back to the fact that you're the dominant brand, if you just continue to grow, chess.com can just grow. It's very not very similar to it was a great interview from Patrick Collison, the founder of Stripe, and one of the things Stripe really want to do is they just want to have more people transact on the internet. If the internet grows and more people transact, they will make more money. And so all of their branding goes on trying to increase those things. It's actually why they bought Indie Hackers, that community site. And just again, talking a little bit about community. So really at its heart, you guys are a community business, right? It's a huge community of chess players. All of these chess players are playing each other. They're graded. They can play against each other within certain ranges. What were some of the lessons? I'm sure you have a ton of founders and people asking you how to build a great community-led business. What are some of the lessons you can teach them from your days of growing chess?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you should ask Patrick about his relationship with chess and chess.com. I don't want to out him here on the podcast, but
bet you his score is high.
He may or may not be a big time fan and player. So, for today, what would I tell people who are, kind of looking at this and the ecosystem? What can they really take away from it? And, I would share a couple of things. Number one is be a user of your own product. Really, there's not a single day that goes by that I'm not using my own product and feeling it and touching it and enjoying it and, feeling the frustrations and frictions of it. And so, that's a huge thing. I did a different business that, some people don't know. They're like, oh, Erik did chess.com. It's all, that's not true. I actually did a business called exercise.com, but I didn't use my own product because it wasn't for me and it didn't feel great. And that business ended up failing in part because I didn't like the product. I didn't use it, and it wasn't natural to me. I'm into fitness, but not the way we had built the product. So that was a big learning for me, was just how core it was for me to really be using my own product. The other thing I would say is just invest in content, like great content. And, this world is driven by games and content at this time. Like games are massive, content is huge. And, if you get content that resonates with people, it's gonna spread. In fact, I will say that another great thing that Danny, our chief chess officer, and really kind of in some ways our CMO, he was very early on the shorts and TikTok and Reels and just saying, hey, this is the voice we want here. This is the kind of content, the chess content we want. And today there's many people who do not actively play on chess.com, but they love our content. And it is fun and it is made for the format. And so we're very attuned to what's going on in the content game because that's where consumers want to be. Consumers don't want to watch ads. They want stuff that's fun and entertaining, and you got to put your brand in there.
If I had to think about your content strategy, you have these incredible tutorials and learning paths and all these kind of things that maybe perform well in search. And then you have all of this kind of short form video that kind of teaches you a single move of chess, or maybe shows like someone being checkmated, or like these kind of, that brings the game, basically short form videos that really bring the game to life, that are really interesting to watch, even if you're not a firm everyday chess player. Is how would you break it down? Is that like a good summary, or how would you kind of describe your content strategy?
Yeah, I mean, we've got everything. We've got everything. I mean, all the way from on our Chessable and courses, we've got, the deepest of content that is, 8 hours of this specific opening, all the way down to, this one strategy or move. And then also the entertaining content that frankly has nothing to do with chess, but is just silly or funny or relevant or culturally relevant. We try to tie chess to a lot of other things. So big sporting events going on. We are putting chess together with that in fun mashups. Big news stories, big things happening in the world. We put chess in there because it kind of attaches chess and relates it. So that's very much a part of our strategy. And we have a really smart team across all the content.
Yeah, very cool. Almost like somewhat like a media company for chess, trying to grow the brand of chess, the full gambit of content. I really like that one, that you're trying to blend chess into like the current culture, like whatever's happening in the internet culture, trying to make chess a part of it. Have you done anything for Olympics, or what's like the thing that you're doing? What's one of the trends right now that you're trying to merge chess with?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff with Olympics. I mean, any major sporting thing going on, we are going to put chess on there. Whether it's someone who misses a game winner shot, in basketball, and it bricks out, that we'll make fun of a little bit, tease that, and we'll put a chess piece on top of the basketball as it travels and bounces out, like you're missing your checkmate. So we're just always there, and I'm sure there's a ton of Olympics content on our socials coming out right now. So we're always there. We avoid the political side, and we avoid things that are, sometimes too nationalistic, because we're a global company. You got to be careful, and so we avoid politics. We avoid some of the national stuff, but we try to embrace, we have different social channels also for different regions. So the content coming out, on our, chess.com India channels, is got a lot more cricket on it than it does, in the US or English channels there. So, we have our Spanish channel. So we've got really smart people in all the different major regions and languages who are kind of touching on their own cultural sensitivities and voices, and putting chess alongside that. So, it's really an amazing machine to watch.
Yeah. And just to round out the conversation, I really appreciate the time you spent with us. I think you publicly have said it's above 150 million in ARR. You can correct me if my number is outdated. It's around that, like that's within range. So you've done, I think, 18 years you've been at the helm, or you start. Yeah. And so you're 18 years, created an incredibly successful business. how passionate are you to continue growing? Is it to continue growing the game at chess.com? Like what are you like excited about for the next couple of years and growing the brand, the game as a whole?
Yeah, I so believe in the future of chess in terms of scope. I mean, we've only just scratched the surface in terms of the number of people who probably will globally play chess, over time. And the other thing about chess that is so fascinating about our business versus others is that chess is the game that someone starts a relationship with, and then you have an on and off relationship throughout your whole life. You might break up with chess for a while, but you're always going to go back to it. And so we're just going to snowball and accumulate. People play it and then stop, and then they'll come back. So we have the customer life cycle for us is a lifetime. It's not, like a lot of mobile games are like, well, we got 30 days to monetize our users because then they're going to be tired of, popping bubbles. That's not chess. Chess is, we've got 80 years to, be your platform for chess. And so we think about that a lot. And we're just at the beginning of doing that. And for example, 1 year ago, 18 months ago, we saw a humongous spike in interest of chess among young people in, ages kind of like, 12 to 18. Well, it was big, and then some of them stuck and some of them didn't. But they are going to come back and, in a year or 2 years or 5 years or when they have kids. And so we're really talking about generational, gaming here as a company. So I'm focused on what that's going to look like. And what that means is, we're trying to build products that are helping people create a positive relationship with the game. And that's our game review products. That's our puzzles. That's our great gameplay. And so it's very much product driven in that way. But so the things that I enjoy are the big, vision parts of that. And then I also enjoy the pixels of it. What is this? We're changing our brand. It was too desaturated. We're going to tone it up 15%, and then, okay, well, we got to make game review better. Oh, and then now I'm get to be involved in all the fun product stuff. I'll tell you the one thing I don't love, and this is super funny, is I don't love managing. I don't love being the CEO manager, where, there's this lawsuit, now there's this compliance, now there's this, thing. And I just kind of want to be building product and like doing the vision of the marketing of where we're going. And so anyway,
I hear that all the time from great founders. That's probably the more common thing that I hear versus I really enjoy managing people. Do you ever think about getting a CEO and you being, the brains of the operation, but you don't have to manage people?
I'll tell you, it's not the people I don't like managing. I like the people we were. I love our team. I think we're the greatest team. Our culture's amazing. We're probably the lowest turnover company you'd ever find just because people like working here. So the people are great. It's the external stuff. It's the administrative, thing. Oh, DocuSign this thing for compliance with this EU law and do this thing. And you got this headache. And it's more the frankly, the regulatory and legal and then, just process this, process that. I don't want to do that. I want to build and I want to be with the people. So that's really what energizes me. And so, maybe I need a chief operating officer or something to kind of handle some of that possibly. But, ultimately a lot of things bubble up to the CEO. It's just kind of how it goes. So, but I do really enjoy being in the builder role, and I enjoy being on the strategy and team building role. Those are things that I like. But, in any given day, you look at my schedule and it can be pretty exhausting. And so, I've been running on this, treadmill for 18 years. And sometimes when I'm not sure where the end is, it gets pretty exhausting to think about. But, I wake up every day and then I get to do a great podcast and I got great meetings on my schedule about product and, and then I'm excited for the day.
Yeah. And you get to coming back to great founders use their products. It's a lot easier when your product is an incredible chess app versus a back B2B invoice generator or something. It's a pretty great product to get up and go, oh, I'll go play my product right now because chess is such an incredible game. The best feeling in the world, I still believe, is when you have, I'm not going to use the right phrase in here, but when you're playing someone that you have real competition with in chess and you get all of their pieces, they only have their king, but they will not, and you double queen, and they will not retire because they're so stubborn, and you can just play around with them, put them in the corner. I just love that feeling. It's making me want to go play chess. Really appreciate you coming on, Erik. I know our listeners will get a ton of value from this. I'm sure a lot of them are chess.com players. Feel free to share your chess score in the YouTube comments. I know some people are very protective. That's why I didn't want to ask you your chess score. But if you feel you want to share it, feel free to share it in the comments. And until next time, this is Marketing Against Green.
This data is wrong every freaking time.
Have you heard of HubSpot? HubSpot is a CRM platform where everything is fully integrated.
Whoa, I can see the client's whole history, calls, support tickets, emails, and here's a task from 3 days ago I totally missed.
HubSpot. Grow better.